Okay, this is a short point of sale application that I have created, and I'm not going to go into much details. Just this is for my own purpose. Just trying to show it on my profile. Um, the main program application has been run through the Invoke event queue, and this is the main frame. The application of course is built here, and this is defining the properties of the application, the width, height, visible, undecorated. Because it's undecorated, it's an immovable object. Then for that reason I have created a title bar, the J panel bar, and I have added mouse listener and mouse motion listener. um, the coordinates, this is actually a point that I have point class that I have created a variable for the point here. And what happens here is, this is click basically. I click it and it reacts to it here. But here I've said point current coordinates, means basically get the coordinates for where the application is currently at, the main frame basically. And then it's saying set the location of the main frame by how much it is moved, and x-axis and y-axis is basically minus the current, and move it to that position. Adding the buttons here, these files are on this within this class, so just add it. These are within other classes. Ideally panels, yeah, they're all panels. Because there are items within these panels. The PLU is a panel. These are different panels. Well, these are methods, but um, there are methods which holds panels. And the way I have named everything is what I would like to show you is, for example, if it's a J button, I have initials for it, JB, and then the button name. For example, JB minimize, JB exit. Java button exit is the best thing I have so far started practicing, and I just learned it by myself because it didn't look pretty. JPanel, it means JP title bar, Java panel title bar. It's the best thing. And on this it's a bit more obvious. As you can see, with every Java button I have JB, 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 and uh, there you go, everyone. And this is the um, this is the bit where I have added all the buttons on the application. All of these buttons are actually a part of this class. The main thing is basically I have set up an array list, which is here. It is string because if I say double, if the user does not enter point 0, then it won't allow it the entry into this array list. If I say integer, it won't allow point something into this array list. Therefore string is the best. I can just convert it and then do the calculation. Here I've just converted the value of the 1 to string, and then once I've done that, then it actually accepts it without putting this variable. I can just put in the field variable directly. So that's all for the numbers, and then for the operators, which are plus, minus, subtract, and division. I have said once I click on the plus button, whatever that was in the text box, assign it to field variable A, which is a double variable which holds double values. That's why I have converted the value of the text box into double, so that A can hold it. And then I've said remove any value from the text box after that, clear it, and I have put this plus here because this is plus is assigned to this button, so this will be used in the equal sign. So when I click on this, it basically means the operator over here is set to plus. That's for minus. For subtraction, addition, everything is the same. As you can see, operator set for here. In the equal, this code doesn't work. I just tried something, but it doesn't work. This is the bug I will explain. Over here I said I've introduced. Now once the plus button is clicked, for example, I have typed in 12. Once I press the plus button, I have said assign this to A, and then clear the text box. The B value means is anything I enter now will be the value of the B. So just add it, A plus B. Over here in the next one, multiply it, A times B, and then over here subtract it and divide it. And once that's done, then this says this says add it together, and then the string is important here because I need to convert it back to string so that I can put it back into the text box. And then I've added it the results to the array list. Results over here are still double, so they're fine to go into the double. So that's how the if statement works. If the operator, the main thing is here. I just mentioned earlier that I had just put the operator up there within each button, plus buttons, minus button, and each one had their own operator. Here we are looking at it. If the operator put there was either of these, then do the following calculations according to them, the multiplication, etc. something. And then this is really important as well. What this does, if I do not enter any of the operators, what should happen to the number? Because if I have something which is which has one quantity, for example I purchased something that's £5 and it's one item, I don't need to come here time it by 1. So if I don't add anything to 1, then 1 will be directly passed on to the array list. If I don't add anything to 2, 2 will be just passed on to the array list. So let's do that, and now if I press total is 3. And the main bug that is actually is single numbers. They have to be entered at the beginning, otherwise the A still holds on to a value which is giving a problem. For example, if I add 1 and then say equals 2, which will add it to the array list, perfectly fine. If I say the next item is one quantity as well, that will be added perfectly fine, and it will get me correct result. But if I say the first item is 3 times 2, and which is 6, this will be added to the array list. The problem becomes is that 3 is still held by the A, and if this time I enter a single item, it will multiply it by 3 or add it to 3 or something. Let's say I have another item which equals to 2, which value is 2, and equal to, there you go, it timed it by 3. So that's the bug, the only bug that is there. Other than that, if I just go on multiply one of these things by, if I say 3 times 2 equals 6, if I clear that, if I say the next item is 2 plus 2, it will be perfectly fine. I can say a single item as well, but I can say um, 3 times 1, it would be perfectly fine. But as soon as I go away to a times and then come back to single items, that's where the bug lies, and I'm working on that, but I am not having a good time because setting the variable field variable to 0 uh, causes some other problems. It then doesn't add it to the it kicks in and it doesn't add anything to the uh, array list, um, and it is really important for the equal sign in the first place. So I'm working on that one. Other than that, this works perfectly fine. If I have one item, I can just time it by 1. For example, 5 times 1, it will never show an error this way. Jump, jump. Yes, he's right over